recognize the value of being human, understand the value of humanity, to provide each other with dignity, to provide each other that space to pursue happiness, to pursue peace. Of course, it's going to be a prosperous country, nation, life, because prosperity without peace is total chaos. And we've seen it. We've seen it. And that's
We think something very important is happening at the Dominguez State Jail, and it has captured our attention. It has captured the Reentry Council attention. When we showed the video at the Reentry Council, we had all of the people here pretty much that were involved locally, as well as Lisandro Martinez and Rene Chapa were there to represent PPRF, and they got a strong round of applause, both for the video and for their own testimony about some of the impacts it's had on their lives and what's happening with them. So I think the county is poised to begin to think about how they might use these ideas in probation and parole, perhaps in the jail. It's a little harder in the jail, but at least with those other populations.
in Taiwan, they have a program where they make police officers watch this before they go out. I really like that. In Lanka, there was the containment for all the refugees during that war that was happening there. This was the only videos they would allow to be played there. And when Colombia started their repatriation program, people fighting, and they had given up their weapons and stuff, this is what they were doing before they got repatriated with the society there. So it's been used in many different ways. And I think, for me, the significance of it really is that this message tries to include that person and add those elements that have been taken away, beaten out of them literally, but puts that back. And one of the TPRF distinct messages is dignity, peace, and then prosperity. And I don't really see a huge difference personally for me between, where I was speaking yesterday, and it's hard to say, but I've been in different parliaments and so on and so forth, and yeah, the audience is slightly different, but they're still human beings, and I think that's really where we make the mistake of not looking at the humanity of it.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the sort of the simple thing that sort of taps into everybody who becomes familiar with this message that you're conveying. And I think it strikes people who are incarcerated particularly strong, because so much of what you're tapping into has been denied to them, or has been removed in many ways through the ways that they have through the justice system and schools and those kinds of things.
Well, personally, I'm just very happy to be able to help in any way.
It's the tools, skills of this whole organization that is making this really special, and we're super excited about this whole initiative. So, welcome to everybody, and I guess it's almost showtime, right? So.
It's an innovative curriculum that fosters self-esteem, positive life skills, and in this case, and so far where it's been applied in places throughout the world and here at Dominguez State Jail, in the prison setting. I saw a news clip on Univision on Spanish television a few years back while I was already teaching here at UTSA. And just saw the great work they were doing inside Dominguez State Jail. It's a 2-year state jail facility situated in the southwest corner of our city here. It's not a novel idea, this notion of going inside secure facilities to work with prisoners in whatever capacity. So, some agencies come in and offer life skills, trades, other forms of formal education, such as equivalency degrees. There are a number of programs offered for self-betterment and hopefully in the long run for rehabilitation, spiritual guidance even, as a parcel of many prisons. But from a criminal justice perspective, whether academic or practitioner in many of your cases, this notion of rehabilitating prisoners has been so far, for the most part, an elusive goal or an elusive ideal. At some point, this was even thought to be virtually unobtainable, the rehabilitation of prisoners. Discussions of evidence-based practices of what works with prisoners in terms of rehabilitation throughout the 70s and 80s essentially concluded that nothing works, that it's a lost cause, that it's hopeless. But we do hold out hope, and that's the reason we're here. There's a renewed interest in our field focusing on what works. I've seen this program in action. I'm pretty well convinced that it does work in some capacity, but it's something that I think could be shown to work to reduce the recidivism, and that's really the bottom line. I've heard it straight from the prisoners themselves at Dominguez that compared to the typical types of programming that they receive, some mandatory, some voluntary, that there's something special going on here, that this is truly a radically different approach to reaching prisoners, to touching those parts of themselves that have probably been neglected.
Look at the hope. The sun comes every morning, and what does it do? It brings light. It doesn't say, you're cloudy over there, I'll skip. You guys don't like, you guys all go out and buy suntan lotion and, all that stuff, so I'm going to skip. No. For everyone. Rich, poor, big, small. Every morning, bringing the warmth, bringing the light. Once there was a competition between the wind and the sun. Who's better? So the sun said, I am what I am. And the wind said, no, I think I'm better than you. So how are we going to resolve this? I see a man, and he's walking, and he's got his jacket on, and he's got his overcoat on, and he's got all these clothes on. So the wind said, I bet through my power, I can make him take off all those clothes, all those warm clothes. Sun said, sure, do it. And the wind said, well, whoever does wins. So the wind started to blow. And more the wind blew, the more guy grabbed onto his jacket, grabbed onto his overcoat, hung on. And the wind blew even stronger, and he hung on even more, and he hung on even more, and he hung on even more. And then it was the sun's turn. And all the sun did was just shine. And as it shone, off came the overcoat, off came the jacket, because the person was comfortable. Now, believe me, and I say this, and don't underestimate this in any way, when I say to you that in each one of you there is a sun waiting to shine. Each one of you. I don't just say that here, by the way. This is what I say to everyone around the world. Sometimes I have an audience, and the audience may be 500,000 people. Sometimes I have an audience that's not even half. But wherever I go, this is what I tell people. There is a sun waiting to shine. You are that traveler. Your goods, your bads, your rights, your wrongs are your jackets. And when the wind blows, not of hope, not of kindness, not of understanding, all you do is you hang on to those more and more and more.
This is a movement that's currently bringing about a new way of thinking on criminal justice in the nation. The principal ideas within restorative justice provide an academic tone or framework that facilitates this type of collaboration between an organization like TPRF and the research community.
Some of the things you may not know is that he has spoken on the subject of peace at very important institutions around the world. He spoke at the United Nations, leading universities. He spoke in a variety of business forums and several national parliaments in various countries. In recognition of the significance of his work, he has been given the sort of the working title of Ambassador for Peace, which I think is aptly given. On November 28th, just this last year, Premier Watt spoke at the European Parliament for the second time. And he was there on the occasion of the signing of the Declaration of Intent, the peace pledge, which was sponsored and led, the effort to get that signed was sponsored and led by the first Vice President of the EU, the Honorable Gianni Pittella.